First time fighting Big Daddy, huh?
Oh my lantern, are these guys tough. This is my 5th time fighting this guy.
You just watched the trailer from the web series Co-op Life. Now, what I really love about this series is the special effects and how well done they are. And not only are they well done, they're really integrated into the series itself. Let's meet the director and find out how he did it.
Initially, it was just a one-series short. It wasn't a series, it was just one short that I know we wanted to put on the internet. Right. And because it just seems to be the easiest way to get your product out there. Right. I can put it into a film festival and get it seen by a few, many, or I can put it on the internet and get it seen by hundreds of thousands. Granted, it might not be the select audience that I'm looking for, but it was the easiest way to get something out there. And then after doing that and being asked by the company Machinima that put out the series Co-op Life, they said they wanted to see web series because that has a much bigger audience. That one person will see one and then they can see the whole rest of the series. Myself and the co-creator and co-writer Jake Hames, who is also the actor. Who, he's the he's the bald one out of the two. It's kind of difficult saying who is what because we never named our characters. From that, we went back to them with this pitch and idea of saying we wanted to continue on this odd couple relationship with these two characters. And since myself and the producer and a couple of the other people involved do have somewhat of a professional background, that our producer, in fact, does a lot of work on pitching commercial ideas. So we used her knowledge of putting together a packet to send to them. So along with that, we sent off the 6 different scripts along with a treatment on the whole series and then a visual presentation of what we thought the whole series would look like. Oh, great. It's a little difficult to scale back because I'm so used to working with a larger scale budget where we can have on average about 50 people on set every single day with everybody doing their own department and moving at a very at a good pace and a very professional looking quality image, whereas in this web series you gotta scale back a lot, and that leap of jumping from 50 people to 5 people was a little daunting. Of like, originally I'm like, all right, so we have this script, it has a lot of it has gunfire going off and blasts hitting everybody, so we need a special effects guy and we need a AD to run the set so everybody's safe, and we need to have all these things in place. Right. And at this point I'm like, all right, well, let's do this a different way. And compositing has gotten pretty good nowadays, that you can create these fake gun blasts, and we had a set of 5 people putting together what probably 10 years ago would have cost a lot more and a lot more people. First learned about a year ago, just the very basics stuff, and like almost everybody, you do your first video, you have to get out a lightsaber video. At one point, you have to. So that was the first thing I did, was just put a lightsaber up and make sure that packet. So now I got that over and done with. But past then, I just kept learning more and more. But really, it was only to use it in the final format. So I was never creating anything just for the sake of creating it. I shouldn't say never, but it was hard to continue anything unless I had like a final output. Like, yeah, all right, so I need to learn gunfire blast because this story calls for it. I need to create these monsters walking around the apartment because the script calls for it. Like the good news about the internet, where you're going to finally put out this web series, the internet also can provide you with pretty much all the tools that you need to know how to create it. That's the only way that I've learned anything on After Effects is through the internet. If you want to come up with an idea, if you've already seen the effect on a few other shorts, there's probably somebody out there that has made a tutorial on how to make this actual effect, and then it's just trial and error and patience and learning the tools. But all the tools are out there, and there's a gajillion tutorials out there, and you just got to find the right ones. But people are so helpful on the internet. It's really amazing. Jake Hames, as the co-creator and co-writer of the series, he had an idea that we thought of like over 2 years ago. It was originally an idea that was going to be taking place in an arcade, because a lot of arcade machines have fake guns attached to it, and he was thinking about the arcade games having people shooting each other with these arcade games. I'm like, all right, so we're not going to get an arcade to shoot this in, but we could do this at home, and we could do this idea with just regular controllers. And especially nice now that controllers are free, they don't have cords attached to them or anything, they can move around. And I'm like, well, this is a good idea for an action movie, and I really love action comedy. That's something that I really like. And luckily that my work had been pushing in that direction. I was doing a few action movies at the time and kind of taking what I've learned from those movies and putting them into that one. At our smallest size, we were about 4 people. So it was myself, the 2 actors, and my friend who's a DP. And at the largest, we had 9 people, with 4 actors, an extra hand that was pretty much just, he was willing to do anything. He was a great guy. And a producer and a Steadicam operator. I have a friend that bought a Steadicam rig and was nice enough to show up for a day. Well, each day was extremely different, because each of the stories were quite different. It was mainly just the 2 characters that were the only thing tying it together. So on some days, it was kind of a simple story. Well, no, it was never simple. There was always some sort of challenge where you're like, all right, so here's a creature, it's going to be coming through the door, and it's going to be blasting. And I can see it all in my head, and I'm not sure if, it turns out that not everybody else can. So some of the actors have said, all right, so he tells me that there's going to be this monster coming out of this door, but I don't really know how to react really until I see it in the final product. And luckily, since we did do 1 or 2 shorts beforehand, and that we were able to show that, hey, we've been able to do this, the actors were very trusting. Yes. And my producer told me that while the actors were behind waiting to be on set, that they said, yeah, it's really great that I can trust Shane to finish this product, that I'm not going to look like a fool staring at this thing that looks stupid. I got a couple ideas for a web series coming up, but right now I think I want to do something a little smaller, because that last project, it was 6 months of just really hard, grueling work, so I'd like to do a couple of little shorts and then go back and see what I learned from this whole process of the web series.
So do you like doing projects also, or your new projects won't be so effects intensive?
No, I can't think of an idea that doesn't have any effects on it. It's now become a crutch, because it's fun to look at. Yeah, I know it, and I like watching it. I especially like watching the graphical stuff integrated into the world. Yes. And that's what some people have told me, that it's like, that's exactly how I feel when I'm playing the game. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming to talk with us today, and I look forward to having you back and maybe talking about some of your future projects also.
I'd love that. Thank you.
So what I'd like to highlight from today's episode is that Shane told us that he didn't know After Effects when he started his web series. When he wanted to do an effect, he would look online for a tutorial of someone who has done an effect similar to that, or something exactly like he wanted to do, and he would study that tutorial. He used the tutorials to learn After Effects for a specific effect that he wanted to do in his web series. Now that's a good way to start learning After Effects. That's a good way to get high quality effects in your web series episodes, by just learning the specific effect that you need in your episode. I'm James Tucker, and you've been watching The Web Series Show. You can watch the full uncut episode on our website, thewebseriesshow.com.